a lot of people want to know how claims are handled with Farm Bureau once they are, a policyholder with us. The benefit of being with Farm Bureau is we have in-house adjusters rather than independent adjusters out of, Spokane or some other place. But they're in-house, trained to provide coverage within our policy wherever possible, and that's a benefit. Also being in-house, we have more access to them directly as agents during the claims process to help where we can.
Yeah, they're actually, through the years, I've been doing this 30 years, and it hasn't changed. I talked to the recent manager over the claims department, and still the adjusters are trained to look for ways how to provide coverage within the policy as opposed to how do I get out of this coverage. And that was just a recent question I had for the recent manager that was put in over claims. One example I have from years ago, a total fire loss in my little hometown of Laclede, and they lost their Cadillac and their Chevy pickup, older Chevy pickup there, and they both had full coverage. Cadillac value seemed to be fine, but when the gentleman went to the local Chevy dealer, he found a pickup that was very similar to the one he had, and he found that he was about $2,000 short, the check that had been written to him, to replace his pickup. All that did happen was that the client contacted the adjuster, explained that. The adjuster reached out to the salesman. The salesman faxed over, a copy of the proof of what it was going to cost, the sticker for that particular pickup, and the adjuster had the client come over and pick up a check for an additional $2,000. And that was all that took place. It was just very simple. The intent is to get you back into, a similar vehicle, in the North Idaho, Spokane region. And that's the way I've witnessed adjusters, work. So I've been very pleased with.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the most important part of what we do as insurance agents. The tire really hits the road when, a claim happens and something needs to be paid out. And I feel like that's something we can pride ourselves in. You've been with the company, 30 plus years, and we've been very pleased with how we've seen the adjusters handle the claims. I think that's important for our clients to understand that we trust them. We trust the company we work for to try and do the best thing for the client when possible within the policy.
Back about 5 years into the business, I thought about maybe switching to a different company. Part of the reason why I stayed with Farm Bureau is because Idaho Farm Bureau and the way they take care of people. I live in a little town. 30 years we lived in Laclede. We had a little parade there and stuff, and many of those people at the parade, I had insured, and so that's important to me to be with a company that, not that every single claim situation, they're happy, but by far the majority, are, and that's some of the reason why I stayed with Idaho Farm Bureau is because they're reputable and stand behind their policy.
Yep. Well, appreciate you guys listening to our little conversation. Let us know if you have any other questions.
Yeah.